I bet most of us have heard of Moses, Elijah, King David. I wonder how many of us have heard of Mariam, Esther and Deborah. Maybe not many. And it's a real shame, because these three women, which we read about in the Old Testament, were really important in leading people back to God and leading people into salvation. These extraordinary women were leading characters in the history of salvation. So who were they? Mariam was Moses' sister, the sister of Moses and Aaron. We read about her in the book of Exodus. She was there when Moses was rescued from the river Nile. She was also there when the Israelites, the people of God, escaped out of Egypt, out of slavery, into freedom in the promised land. There's this great story that they came to the Red Sea. The Egyptian army was chasing them. The waters of the Red Sea parted. The Israelites went through to safety. And when the Egyptian army followed them, the waters came crashing back down on them. Mariam was there. And when the Israelites had got to safety on the other side, she led them in singing a great song of praise and thanks to God. I will sing to the Lord, glorious his triumph. We still sing that song. Every Easter Saturday night at the Easter Vigil, that is a song that we still sing, a song of praise to God. So Mariam reminds us that we should always thank God for God's help in our life. It's also that song, the first praise and celebration of the exodus of freedom out of slavery. Mariam was a really strong leader. Later on in the book of Numbers in the Old Testament, you can read about Mariam challenging her brother Moses, who was the great leader. Esther. The book of Esther is set in Persia, which is modern-day Iran. It was written after the exile, after the people of God had been in exile, and some of them had come back to Judah, but some remained in Persia. The book of Esther is still read by Jewish people in synagogues when they celebrate a festival called Purim. And the story is about the king of Persia's advisor, a man called Haman. And when his name is read out, the people in the synagogue boo loud enough so his name is drowned out, because he's the kind of villain in the story. But when Esther's name is read out, they cheer, because she was such a great leader. Esther had become the queen. She was Jewish, but she kept that hidden from the king and the people. This advisor, Haman, felt threatened by the Jews who still remained in the country. So he drew up a decree to have them all killed. Esther found this out, and she went to the king and pleaded with him to save her people. She knelt before him and said, "Grant me my life and the life of my people." The king was furious that his advisor was going to kill his queen's people, and so he had his advisor Haman killed. Esther was the hero. She had saved the people. She reminds us of the need to stand up for those who are oppressed. She risked her own life to save her people. Finally, Deborah. Deborah is a prophetess who appears in the book of Judges. She was a judge, really unusual for a woman to be a judge at that time. She administered justice in the name of the Lord, so she resolved conflicts and complaints that came to her. The Israelites at the time were being oppressed by the king of Canaan. Deborah summoned an Israelite commander, Barak, to her, and she said to him, "Gather 10,000 men and go into battle." He said, "I'll only do that if you stand next to me when we go into battle." She agreed. And so Deborah stood next to Barak as the army went into battle against the kingdom of Canaan, and they were victorious. She gave them the confidence to win the battle against the king of Canaan. And then Deborah sang a great song of praise, Judges chapter 5. "Blessed be the Lord God," she sang. Both Miriam and Deborah's songs of praise sound very like the song Mary sang, the Magnificat, we read in Luke chapter 1. So these three women, first of all, Mariam helped lead the people of Israel out of slavery to freedom. Esther risked her own life to save her people. And Deborah gave the Israelites confidence to fight oppression. And most importantly, they sang songs of praise to God, reminding other people and us to always give God thanks for his help. They were great protagonists, leaders of salvation. They took decisive action in leading people to salvation and saving their own people. Enjoy learning about Mariam, Esther, and Deborah.